Here we have a group of images, and even to an elementary observer, there appears to be some similarities. Here we have an image that I got off of a Chinese food box, which demonstrates an Asian religious symbol of the phoenix, which is a bird, and it is at war with a dragon or a serpent. Here we have the Mexico coat of arms. This image can be found on the Mexico flag, where we have a bird and it has a serpent in its mouth. So they're obviously in some type of conflict. Here again we have a bird, the eagle, and it has a ribbon in its mouth. This ribbon symbolizes a serpent, just like this. See? So you have the serpent and the bird in some type of conflict or some type of war. And as you can see, this is there are stars up here, and the bird is flying in the sky. So presumably it's some type of war that's taking place in the heavens. Here you have a bird and a serpent. Now the question then becomes, what's so important about the serpent and the bird that whether you're a 5,000-year-old religious society or more modern governmental society which professes to be separate from religion, and they're all demonstrating the same thing, a war taking place between a serpent and a bird. Alright, now that I've demonstrated my ability to predict earthquakes based upon the movements of the moon, the other planets, and the sun, let me back you up a little bit into the past. I'm going to take you to August 7th, 2009, at which time I filed a civil rights complaint in the United States District Court for the District of Colorado. So in other words, on August 7, 2009, I went to the federal courthouse in Colorado and I filed a civil rights complaint against the United States Social Security Administration, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and the state of Colorado. And in my complaint, I said that in the year, specifically in the summer of 2012, I told them that the moon and the planet Venus were going to eclipse the sun at basically the same time, except that the planet Venus was going to be in complete eclipse of the sun, and that the moon was going to be in partial eclipse of the sun. And that for about a 3-day period, the planet Moon, the planet Venus, and the Sun were all going to be pulling on the Earth in the same direction at the same time for the course of 3 days. And that for that 3 days, it was basically going to be an extinction level seismic event taking place on the planet. Now, under normal circumstances, this wouldn't be too bad, because when the Earth is tilted at 23.26 degrees, the alignments would take place and have effect upon the areas around the equator, which are continental shields and water, so we wouldn't have too much to worry about. But since the Earth's tilt is offset and offsetting, that means that by the time 2012 comes and that alignment takes place, that means that we're not going to be as protected as we would normally be because of our shift. I further explained that on the day that that alignment takes place, all right, and this is what it'll look like up in the sky. You had a moon in partial eclipse of the sun, and then the planet Venus in total eclipse of the sun, and that the sun is going to appear to have a green halo as a result of the planet Venus's magnetic field. Alright, so we're going to see the planet Venus's magnetic field, which is going to make the sun appear to be green on the day that that alignment takes place. I also was able to explain that on the day that that alignment takes place would be the same day that the Earth reached a 0 degree incline. And if you recall, the Earth is spinning because it's tilted. So when we reach a 0 degree incline, we're no longer going to be spinning. Now, I've already demonstrated to you that it is the position of the moon, the planets, and the sun at certain times that cause seismic events on the planet. So it's obvious that if this alignment were to take place, then there would be a great and devastating seismic event all over the planet, because again, it's going to take place over the course of 3 days. As you recall, the title of this presentation is Fire. And initially I alleged that in the summer of 2012, the United States was going to burn. Now, I know that sounds biblical, and all of you who may not have any familiarity with the Bible, you've heard that one day we all gonna burn. And I understand that my reference to the Bible probably makes some of y'all want to get up and walk out. And the reason why is because you don't have a true and complete understanding of the situation. Let me see if I can further elaborate on why the United States flag looks like fire coming down from heaven. By now, the intelligent, inquisitive mind should be wondering, okay, where is J. Mason getting this information from? How does he know when and where the planets and the moon and the sun are going to be in what positions in order that he would be able to predict the earthquakes? What aliens have he been talking to? Well, unfortunately, I haven't been talking to aliens. I just went to the library. And in the library, I found this book. It's called The Astronomical Almanac for the year 2010. Now, each year, the United States Naval Observatory, by direction of the Secretary of the Navy and under the authority of Congress, in conjunction with Her Majesty's Nautical Almanac Office on behalf of the United Kingdom Hydrographic Office, they publish this book which tells you when and where the various planets, the moon, and the sun are going to be at any given point throughout the year. Now, they also publish these books for future, because remember, everything that happens in space happens cyclically. It happens every so often in regular cycles where you can count on them. Like I said, the planet Venus comes around every 19 months, so it's easy to do the math on that once you understand that. Now, as you can see, these books are for data for astronomy, space sciences, geodesy, surveying, navigation, and other applications. This word geodesy, geo means the earth, odyssey means to travel. So in this book, they're tracking the travels of the earth, or rather the obliquity, the movement of the earth's tilt. Alright, let's learn a little more about precession and our axial tilt, our obliquity. I got this document off of Wikipedia. Okay, precession is the change in the direction of the Earth's axis of rotation relative to the fixed stars with a period of roughly 26,000 years. This gyroscopic motion is due to the tidal forces exerted by the sun and the moon on the solid Earth, associated with the fact that the Earth is not a perfect sphere but has an equatorial bulge. The sun and moon contribute roughly equal to this effect. Now what they're saying is that in that 26,000 year period, and see they even got a picture over here, they show the Earth tilted 23.5 degrees and that we have a fixed north star. Then they got another line in the middle there where they show the Earth at a 0 degree inclination. Then they got another line over here where they show the Earth pointed in the opposite direction to a different North Star. Alright? So here's a scientific document which is showing you that the Earth goes from pointing one way with one North Star, it hits a center point, and then it goes over to 23 degrees the opposite direction with the new North Star. Alright? What they're giving you the impression, though, is that it's a gradual process lasting 26,000 years. What they're not telling you is it takes 7 years, the last 7 years of that 26,000 year cycle, we make that transorbital obliquity roll. Now, the axial tilt, that obliquity, they say the angle of the Earth's axial tilt, obliquity, varies with respect to the plane of the Earth's orbit. These slow 2.4 obliquity variations are roughly periodic, taking approximately 41,000 years to shift between a tilt of 22.1 and 24.5 and back again. Okay, so what they're saying is that over the course of 41,000 years, the Earth varies, the tilt varies from 24.5 to 22 degrees, and then it goes back again. So they're saying that over the course of 41,000 years, the Earth kind of wobbles back and forth between 22 and 24 degrees. Alright? So what they're showing you is that the maximum tilt, the furthest that the Earth tilts this way, is 24.5 degrees, and that the minimum tilt is 22 degrees. So that means that the least the Earth tilts towards zero is 22 degrees. Alright? So 22 to 24, that's our normal. Okay, here's another scientific publication where they're showing basically the same thing, that the Earth's tilt, which averages 23 degrees, but that it varies between 22 and 24. Alright? So they're saying that over 41,000 years, we kind of toggle in between 22 and 24. And see down here it says, the Earth's axis is presently tilting by 23.5 degrees north-south away from the orbital plane, and the tilt varies between 21.5 and 24.5. The tilt changes by plus or minus 1.5 degrees from a tilt of 23 degrees every 41,000 years. So again, they're saying that the maximum tilt is 24 and the minimum is 22. Alright? Now if you look at this diagram, they're showing this old precessional where they show us tilted at 23 degrees this way, then they show a straight line, and then they show 23 the other direction. Alright? So it's basically the same thing. We go from 23 to 0 and then to 23 again. Alright? But they're not saying nothing about 0. They're not saying anything about us going, that our tilt decreases beneath 22 or above 24. Alright? Okay. Here's another science publication. It's called the Chambers Dictionary of Science and Technology. Alright? And we go here. Obliquity of the ecliptic. The angle at which the celestial equator intersects the ecliptic. At present, this angle is slowly decreasing by 0.47 arc seconds per year due to precession and nutation. It varies between 21.55 and 24.18. Its value in 2000 will be about 23.26. Alright? So again, we have another publication that's giving us that the Earth's tilt doesn't go beneath 21 and that it doesn't go above 24. Okay.